Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, like mainstream media, beholden to corporations, we own allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBRTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly being part of the show. We are here to serve. Anyhow, welcome aboard Eric Hayes. Welcome aboard AVQ. Senor Michael Rudnan, welcome aboard Bruce Pollard, who says, how do. And in the house as well, E2247 says, 13.8 billion years we patiently waited for this visit here today. Egberto, thanks for your pulling us relatives together to move into greater complexity and consciousness right now. Yes, sirree, Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. Michael Rudnan says, I'd call this a red alert moment. We're living through the beginning of the end, and most people don't even know it. I tell you what, Rudnan, because you said that, right? There is a piece today in let me go ahead and pull that up and get it onto the screen. Let me go to Common Dreams. It was a frightening piece. I didn't get to read it in detail, but I want to get folks online with this particular one. This is a story here. It's called Study Warns Climate-Driven Collapse of Critical Ocean Current System Much Closer Than We Thought. It is very plausible that we've fallen off a cliff already and don't know it, said one researcher. And we're talking about the currents that carry based on salinity drop. I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff here, but check out this article, and I'm going to put this article, I'm not completely done with it. I'm going to put it inside of the feed for folks to go ahead and take a look at it. Anyway, we have, let's see, Michael Ronan says the independent, let's start with what you had on the top. NBC says, like a hot tub, water temperatures off Florida soar over 100 degrees, stunning experts. A buoy near Manatee Bay recorded a 101.1 degree water temperature Monday, a temperature common for hot tubs. While the readings would have been considered a possible outlier or sensor error, surrounding buoys recorded similar temperatures, 99.3, Muir Key 98.4 at Johnson Key. Another reason why these water temperatures readings are being taken seriously is the fact that experts have been tracking this exceptionally warm water temperature readings that have ranged from 92 to 97 degrees since early July. Science alert, water temperature off Royal Coast is over 100 degrees. I saw all of those. Let's see what else we have here. Pardon having a hard time today. Don't worry about it, my friend. Yvette Avery Herod is also in the house. Yvette, glad that things seem to be working out with UPS. I played the call that you did yesterday to our folks on KPFT 90.1 FM this morning as well. Actually, that was the call that we had yesterday for them to hear that, yes, here is a union steward that is cautiously optimistic. Well, today's we are going to play two important interviews that I did at Netroots Nation 2023. The first one is going to be with Markos Moulitsas. He is the editor, publisher, founder of Daily Kos, and the other one is owner of the Raw Story. I think every progressive knows Raw Story, every progressive knows Daily Kos, every progressive knows Alternate. We're going to talk, we're going to play those as well as more people join in. Anyhow, welcome aboard as well. Daniel Ledo, breaking news. Hunter Biden gaslights all of America by pleading not guilty. Well, what do you want him to do? Get out of the thing that caved in, the plea deal that caved in and not say not guilty? Come on, man. You know better than that. Yvette says, replying to him, running, sending prayers and hugs. We are, sir. We are, sir. Para ver qué más tengo aquí. E2247 says this July is the hottest month on record in human history. There is no doubt. Climate crisis is here with extreme. The climate crisis is here with extreme, record-breaking heat causing death and unprecedented danger. Michael says, replying to Michael, prayers for a laundry day and me rushing through things. LOL, hugs all around. Hugs, brother. Hugs, brother. Bruce Pollard says, good coverage on NPR TV news last night. I think this is another cull the herd incident, only if we fix some things, maybe CO2 levels. We got to do something. Hey, all. Hello, Lee Grant. Welcome aboard to Politics Done Right. E2247 meanwhile, gas, coal, and oil industries are pursuing a deceitful greenwashing campaign to delay climate action and maintain profits at the expense of our planet. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to Markos Moulitsas, and then we'll have Michael Rogers. Check out Markos, and then we'll take it on the other side. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. Today, we're honored to have the one and only Markos Moulitsas, the founder and everything else of what? Daily Cross.
How you doing?
How you doing, my brother? Once again, here at Netroots Nation. Last time we were concerned. Are we still concerned?
Last time we were concerned about what?
Our politics.
I wasn't concerned.
No, you weren't concerned. I was concerned.
Oh, okay. I thought I was out on a limb because it was last August.
Yes.
And the conventional wisdom was Crimson Tide,
yes.
Red Wave, right?
Yes.
And I was like, maybe I'm missing something, but I'm looking at all the numbers and the special elections and the data, and things are looking pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
And so I didn't feel like I was going out on a limb.
Yeah.
But definitely conventional wisdom said
we should be.
But you looked into that. It was history says that the president in power loses midterm elections.
Yes.
Except during wartime.
Yeah.
World War II and 9/11 were the exceptions. And Joe Biden had a 38% approval rating.
Yes.
So that was the argument against it. And I was like, but look at the special elections. We're crushing it in the special elections.
Yes.
And look at the data, look at the numbers. And so ultimately I was right.
Yes.
Which felt
it feels good to say that, don't it?
So good, man.
It feels great to say
especially when predicting Democrats winning, and then I'm right about it. And if I'm predicting that Republicans are going to win, and then I'm right, I don't really need to celebrate that, right? That's not fun.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the New York Times just had had a bizarre article that said that there are warning signs for Democrats heading into next year because Republican turnout was higher in the midterm. And
think about the psychology of that. I mean, the math of that.
If Republican turnout is higher and the Democrats won, they are in deep shit.
No kidding. Yes.
That is the story. That means that some Republicans voted for the Democrats.
Yes.
It means that independents dramatically swung to the Democrats, and it means that Democrats turned out. Nothing about that is good for the Republican side. It's the weirdest story I've ever seen.
Let me ask you this, Markos, because you've been on all you've been on national TV and all of that, and somehow I don't think people register some of what you say. Where the hell do these guys come up with some of these articles when we have the data right here, and then they write what they write? Is it that they're hoping to move the electorate to where they think they are? Or, I'm serious about this.
No. I don't think it's nefarious in the sense that they're trying to game the system. What's happening, I don't know if you remember back in the day, people say nobody ever got fired for buying IBM.
Right.
And it's that. If the conventional wisdom says Democrats are in disarray, and you write a story that says Democrats are in disarray, nobody's going to not. You're like, that's the conventional wisdom.
Right.
And so, for example, for the longest time, Republicans would say, this is a center-right country.
Right.
And they said it so often and so much that everybody repeated it, including Democrats.
Yes.
Now, this is a very early Netroots project where we looked at the data and said, what are they seeing that we're not seeing? Because if we go down issue by issue, the American public is with the Democrats on almost every single one of them.
Elizabeth Warren came to a convention in 2015, and she laid down all these numbers.
It's not controversial.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's just like somebody saying Joe Manchin is a centrist, or Nancy Mace is a centrist, Congresswoman Nancy. they don't. What does centrist mean? It doesn't mean you're in the middle of the extreme from the most liberal to the.
Right.
No, it means, to me, a centrist means with the American mainstream.
Right.
And in the American mainstream, the bulk of the Democratic Party is in the American mainstream. We are a centrist party, and I don't mean this in a pejorative like.
Well, I'm glad you said that you don't mean it in a pejorative, because I have this thing against. I call it the mythical center because of where the center moved, in my opinion. But I think we're talking about two different centers. Yeah, a different center.
And I'm a solid liberal.
Right, there you go. Okay, and that's where America is.
That's where I am in the American mainstream.
Right.
How's that not the center?
Right.
How do you not define the center with where the vast majority of the people are?
Right.
And there may be people to the left of that, and there's a whole party to the right of that.
Right, yeah.
But where the American people are, and that's why Republicans are trying to undermine democracy.
Right.
They can't win on the issues. They're not even trying anymore.
Yeah.
Bud Light is not an issue. Trans children in sports is not an issue that resonates, that is relevant to most Americans. And they're trying to, eliminate ballot initiatives effectively in Missouri and Ohio because they know that when liberal issues are put up, like abortion rights, they lose.
Right.
Now, the Democratic Party has a shit brand.
Yes.
And so if you slap on Democrat to a candidate name, you automatically lose like 20 points. Like,
no kidding, though. Yeah.
And it's a thing. Like, pollsters will poll names without, what the issue start.
And everybody likes it.
Everybody likes a Democrat. Yeah. Then you ask one question saying, oh, by the way, that guy's a Democrat.
20 points.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work to be done. Mm-hmm. But we are on the cusp of this sort of political transition where the Republican Party has surrendered any effort to win new votes, and the Democratic Party is unprecedentedly united in its message, and it's a message that resonates. There's no micro-targeting message in the past. Oh, we're going to talk to rural one way and urban and suburban different ways, and people are like, well, what do you stand for? I hear you're talking out of all sides of your mouth, right? You don't stand for anything. And it's because Democrats were afraid. They bought into this America's a center-right nation. They were afraid of the issues that were actually popular. And early nudges were like, we're not asking you to go left to where you're unelectable. We're asking you to stick your finger up in the wind, see which way it's blowing, and go there.
Because you know what? It's already what we believe.
Yes, go there.
Yeah.
And I think we're finally there.
Yeah.
As a party. And so you have somebody like Justin Jones in Nashville.
Was that beautiful or what, man?
And not only was it beautiful.
Justin Jones and what's the other guy's name? The guy from Maxwell.
Yeah,
you know who I mean, from Florida.
And so you have, and you saw this in Nashville where he wasn't just getting support from urban Nashville Tennesseans. It was resonating with suburban and rural Democrats. It was energizing them in the rural areas too, because rural voters don't want their children murdered by gun violence. And so we finally have a message that sort of resonates in all, rural, urban, suburban, resonates blue states, red states, purple states. And so we're unified in purpose and in message and in focus, and we're not fighting. We just saw this orderly transfer of power in the House. Can you imagine Republicans can't even keep
they can't even keep their own party together.
Right now.
Look at what's going on yesterday,
So it's really, we have a chance here to really press our advantage.
Yeah.
We won a midterm election. Completely
if New York had just pulled our part of the bargain.
Yeah, and it will next year, and we may even have new districts.
Yeah,
because courts are saying,
that's what, exactly. Yeah.
So not only will we have new districts, but we're going to have presidential year turnout. California too. I mean, the Orange County turnout wasn't great. We'll get presidential year turnout.
Now, what's your thoughts on the your thoughts on the Senate race in California? I'm like, who do we pick?
I mean, I'm a Katie Porter person, but it's a very soft Katie Porter, and definitely not Barbara Lee. I don't think Barbara Lee is. She's my congresswoman, and she's great for what she is.
Right.
I prefer people who are a little more practical.
Well, my thing with Katie is my candidate that I've been supporting, and I quote her all. I don't know if you see the articles. I love Katie because of her whiteboard and she kind of stands out. But also I like Katie because she's young and will have staying power. And I want more young people in Congress doing the work that they do. Your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, absolutely. Ossoff is dynamic and exciting because a lot of part because of that youth.
Yes.
And energy and vigor and just representing a generation that still doesn't feel particularly fully
represented.
Yeah, exactly, in our political process. And in fact, Congress has never been older than it is today. This is the oldest Congress.
And in that statement, I want to ask you a dangerous question that I think we should confront up front about the Biden age thing. Tell me what your honest thoughts about that.
I mean, he's clearly still got it.
I know he's got it, but
so
I mean,
that's all that matters.
How do you sell the false concern that the media is going to allow the right to do?
I mean, Donald Trump's 78. He's only 3 years younger.
I agree.
So no,
I agree with all of that. But how do we?
So the thing that first of all is I actually think Joe Biden might have one of the most successful presidencies we've seen in a long time.
The numbers speak for themselves.
It's absolutely dramatic, and the numbers aren't. His poll numbers don't reflect that, and I'm not sure what's happening there, and it'll be interesting as we have the rally around the flag effect closer to the election. I think that those numbers will go up.
But isn't it true that his polling numbers are up mostly because Democrats really haven't coalesced as they should, and they probably will at the end? Yeah,
I mean that's part of it. Yeah. I mean Obama's numbers at this time were just that bad, and just as many people thought he should not run for re-election.
Again, okay.
So those questions are all bunk because when you ask like should somebody else run. They think like, my favorite candidate.
Right.
They don't think, not everybody going like, we all want Elizabeth Warren to run. Or we all want Kamala Harris to run. Like, that's not what they're thinking. They're thinking their ideal candidate, that person does not exist.
Right.
So it's a stupid question.
Right.
People will always answer yes, somebody else.
Right.
And politicians nobody likes politicians. Yeah. Right? So there's always somebody else. Yet Democrats would easily renominate Joe Biden, and they're probably going to renominate Donald Trump, absent.
Now, let me ask you something. And your thought, going to your crystal ball again, has been right the last few times. Donald Trump, do you think he really makes it to the convention?
Dude's not healthy. I mean, for all we know, he has a stroke next week. Right?
Oh Lord!
So I'm not even. So there are.
No, but Markos, if suppose that's the case, does that present a danger for Biden?
It's a good question. Who would emerge from that field? If it's Ron DeSantis, it's
not a chance. I don't think it's a problem.
I mean, we don't take it.
You know who I'm scared of?
Brian Kemp.
You're gonna laugh.
Brian Kemp?
No.
Who?
Christie.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, and nobody's there at all,
so
right?
here's a problem for the Republicans.
Yeah.
They have a significant chunk of their electorate that are not Republicans.
Right.
They are Trump, MAGA fanaticals. If Trump is not the candidate, this is what happened in 2022, right?
Right.
He's not on the ballot, they don't turn out. Mm-hmm. They don't believe in elections. They believe in their God King cult leader.
Right.
That's all they care about. If somebody takes out Trump, I think they're done. They lose even 10% of that. There's just no path.
Let me tell you something. I hope your crystal ball is right on that
where
one.
You have potential promise of Brian Kemp, who might actually be able to play for suburban college-educated white women. It's tougher, but it's that puts me a little more worried.
Yeah.
Chris Christie has been going after Trump hard, and that 30% MAGA base will not vote for Chris Christie no matter what.
But you know what I fear? That some Democrats will vote for Chris Christie, given New Jersey.
I mean, his approval rating in New Jersey was 16% when he was
when he left. Yeah.
So he was damaged good, and to me, he looks like a kamikaze run, which is great.
And even that's good.
It's actually smart for the Republican establishment to try to take out Trump. Had they been smart, I could almost guarantee if we had Mitch McConnell here and we said, be honest, should you have voted to impeach? He'd say yes today.
Mitch McConnell surprised me because he has been so bad in the way he has dealt with Trump. It's almost. It's
clear to me now that he regrets it.
Yeah.
And if he could go back and do it, he thought that he was a loser. He's damaged. He's going to go away.
Yeah.
No, I don't know why he would think that. It was all the signs were clearly there.
Well, everybody was saying it on the liberal side, right?
Exactly. So they're going to lose an election because of Trump.
Yeah.
It's better to rip off that Band-Aid and do what they did after Watergate.
Yeah.
I mean,
with Nixon,
you rip off the Band-Aid, you make him go away.
Yeah.
And then you rebuild from that.
But the thing that scares me I don't even want them rebuilding because I tell you what, the only non-democratic branch of our government, the Supreme Court, and what do we do about that?
What we do is we expand it.
Okay, let's back up a second because our guy right now I got in trouble on Daily Kos for saying something. And what I said was, it wasn't even anti-Biden. It was just saying Biden, I think, made a critical mistake in saying, just outright saying, I am not going to expand the Supreme Court when he went on to MSNBC. And my contention was, make it less obvious, because a lot of people depend on us changing the Supreme Court given the staying power of the Supreme Court. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wish he wouldn't say that.
Right.
I also know that Biden is, by definition, just by his character, he's a cautious person.
Yeah.
I mean, he said we weren't going to send tanks to Ukraine.
And
we sent tanks.
Yeah. F-16s were sent.
Yeah. So he has a history of saying no. And then when the political conditions are there, he can evolve. So right now, for him to say, I'm going to expand the Supreme Court, it would give Republicans a reason to rally around the flag, saying like, our majority is in danger. By saying, no, it's off the table, Republicans can't run on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they can point to like people like us.
Yeah, that's saying that,
but without Biden saying it, it really makes it a lot harder. Now it's a lot different if he says that he wins re-election. Mm-hmm. We Ruben Gallego replaces Sinema, and we hold the ground. We have 51 senators who would likely vote to eliminate the filibuster,
which is what we got to have.
And then DC statehood's on the table. Even Joe Manchin's bill to eliminate partisan gerrymandering, that's on the table. So we got a lot of things that we can do at that point, including expanding the Supreme Court. At that point, if Biden says, let's not do it, then we're like, let's beat the shit out of him, because there's no reason for him at this point. Before the election, there's really no benefit to it. I mean, I would love it because, don't get me wrong.
I know, but my question though is by making it as definite as he sounded, will he kind of affect, some of us are not pragmatic. I mean, some of us are just not pragmatic enough. What's your thought?
I mean, because
I'm a very lefty guy. You're a centrist. I'm a lefty, but I am going to team up and
centrist defined by No.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But what I'm saying is that I am going to compromise, and I wasn't a Hillary Clinton supporter, but I strongly came in support of her. I wasn't a Biden supporter. I came strongly in support of Biden after the team said, this is what we're doing. But too many of us aren't like that.
I don't think anybody's going to base their support for Biden on this one issue.
I hope so.
I mean, I think it's going to be like, that was a shitty one. But okay, he just forgave student loan debt for 800,000 people. I don't know.
No, it was over a million, man.
I just saw the headline earlier today, so I haven't read the stories. That's the stuff.
Oh, wait! I missed something. You're telling me I missed something. Something came over
today.
The Chiron today. What was it?
He just wrote off something like $800 billion in student debt overnight without even having to apply or anything. He just completely
took it off.
Yeah,
and he had the power to do that.
Well, we'll find out what the Supreme Court has to say about it. But
you know what they go say.
But
if they pay the bills before,
he thinks exactly. Yeah, he thinks. I mean, Biden. They think they got it though. They think they have the authority.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, the original one, the emerging authorization was about 9/11, so it was a bit of a stretch
to do that.
And so it's, I still don't like the decision, but there's some logic to it. We're like, okay, that was like a 9/11 bill. I haven't read the story, so I don't know. But from what I vaguely remember, this was based on current law. That is
great.
So that's the sort of stuff that I think is more tangible and will have more of an impact than him saying something that a lot of people didn't even know he said on an issue that's not front and center right now.
Okay.
And it doesn't need to be front and center right now. We don't need to give Republicans some reason to rally.
Well, we win the Senate. We take back the House. We hold the Senate and we get rid of Sinema. We get rid of Sinema.
That's happening.
Manchin, I don't know.
We actually need him to win, so it's okay if he holds on.
If Sinema loses and we get Gallego.
So that's a plus one.
That's
really.
Plus one.
Yeah, so we're at 51-49. We still have to hold Montana, Virginia, West Virginia, in Ohio.
And the good thing is Tester's running this cycle, so he has 6 years, so he should be able to say yes to bust the filibuster.
Yeah, no, it's a tough race. It's Montana.
But
Trump won it by 10 points.
Yeah, but Tester is a special guy in Montana.
He is, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Joe Manchin's going to be tough.
Joe, the truth of the matter is, even though it'll be left 50-50 with Joe Manchin gone, it's almost 50-50 now with Joe Manchin.
Yeah, but his voting rights bill is actually solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good. Eliminating partisan.
I didn't even check that.
Yeah, it eliminates partisan gerrymandering. It has electoral college reform in it, so it actually locks in the vote. The electoral college, you can't get rid of it, constitutional reasons.
Right.
But it doesn't allow.
They can't play around with it like they were trying to play around with it
exactly.
during Trump.
It was actually a shockingly good bill. Like there's very little.
Why did he do that? Given who he is, that's surprising.
So the one thing he gave Republicans on it, I think, is he allowed photo ID. But it's not even voter ID. It could be like a utility bill.
Yeah.
So it's just like proof that you live where you say you live.
Yeah, okay.
I'm actually, if that's a compromise and you get rid of partisan gerrymandering, I'm taking it.
Hell yeah.
And it means more work for voter registration people to make sure.
But still,
it's
a responsibility. So yeah,
we can do that work.
Okay, Markos. Let's talk about Markos. What the hell's happening with Markos now? What are your big plans? Daily Coast, what else is going on?
I don't know. Big plans are we got to win next year. So it's a lot of focusing on the core traditional Daily Coast mission of more and better Democrats, right? So more is important. We need to take this a House. I feel really positive about the House. We need to make gains in state legislatures. We're so close to taking over legislatures in Virginia, Arizona, Pennsylvania. We got some real strong opportunities.
I hope the Democratic Party don't think Texas is really a lost cause. I'm in Texas, and I can tell you one thing. It's about us not. I know a lot of people don't like to hear me say that, but we are not going to. Let me tell you something, Markos, and listen to here. We get rural hospitals closed, and we don't have Democrats going into Yoakum, Texas, or all these places and say, this hospital is closing and attaching it to the death of people who had to drive 100 miles for care. We don't do any of that and make a big issue out of that. And so marginal races we lose. There were a lot of marginal races we lose. Why do we do that?
Yeah, I mean, and Republicans, they know they can't win any issues, so they've taken over the electoral machinery in Houston. In Houston, what's the county?
No, it is Harris County.
Harris.
That's where I live. Yeah.
And so, we need to solidify Arizona, Georgia. They're still not locked down. They're very tentative. But we have opportunities in North Carolina. We have opportunities in South Carolina.
Great.
Mississippi should be a purple state.
Did you say South Carolina?
South Carolina, Mississippi. By demographic, they should be purple or blue states.
Oh, okay.
I mean, 40% of Mississippi is black.
I know it's black, but sometimes I wonder because of the way the numbers come out.
All you need is 10% of white people. We don't even get that. We don't even get that in Mississippi. And Texas.
Yeah.
By demographics, Texas
should be
purple to blue.
Right.
And so we gotta fight for those things. And one of the things I love about how the conference is evolving is people are, in the early days, you may even remember this, it was all about Howard Dean versus John Kerry and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, great, presidential, but can we focus on these down ballot races?
We're starting to see a lot of the panels.
And now it's really, the conference has evolved into how to better organize on the ground at the state level. And even here, I don't know if you saw the keynote last night.
Yes, I did. Oh, you bet you did?
This is a blue city. Chicago's a Democratic city.
Yeah.
It upgraded its Democrats, and all sorts of incredible new policies are emerging from the mayor's office, from the DA, elimination of cash bail, incredible new policies. And so it matters in a blue state. It matters in a purple state, obviously, because that's a battleground.
Right.
But it matters in red states. I mean, tonight we're going to talk to Justin Jones, and who had his incredible
re-election after being thrown out.
Re-election in Tennessee, and catalyzing support for Democrats and branding Democrats. We're the party of gun safety.
Yes.
And we talked about earlier that Democratic Party brand is trash.
Yeah.
It's important for people like Justin Jones to stand up and say this is what Democrats really stand for, and to work on that rebranding process. That's a red state challenge. And so this conversation, these organizing has to happen everywhere, even in the reddest states.
Yes.
And it is happening. And I'm really excited, and I'm really hopeful for where we are going forward as a movement, because as I said, we won this Supreme Court election in Wisconsin. We took control of this Supreme Court. That means we're going to redraw the state legislative districts. a fair map gives us a chance at majorities.
Yes.
We're going to redraw the House district. That's
Yes.
2-3 seats we're going to pick up right there. And then not to mention all the policy stuff that court was blocking.
Yeah.
3 election cycles ago, Republican ran unopposed.
Yeah.
Like, we're finally realizing this matters.
Yes, yes.
So that's what I'm really excited about. The president's important. We're gonna have those battles.
Right.
I'm sure we will, in 4 years. But we're finally realizing the important battles are things like school boards. Conservatives always knew this.
And we're starting to get.
We finally are getting the idea, like, oh, this shit matters.
Markos Moulitsas.
Thank you so much.
El señor director de Daily Ghost. Thank you so kindly for being here on Politics.
Such a pleasure, and thanks for doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share.
Well, folk, I hope you enjoyed that. Markos Moulitsas, a good friend, the publisher, founder, editor, senior editor at Daily Kos. Great guy, always have it together. Anyways, been watching all of your chatter here. Bruce, I'm going to have to check out that link to the climate change program on PDR, not on PDR, on PBS. Looks like that's going to be good. Bridge MCP just entered the house. Welcome aboard, Bridge. Let's see what else we got here. Maywood, nope, getting off a felony is not normal. Sorry, it is because of his dad and someone paid millions to the IRS. That really sounds normal to you. I think you really need to look at history and look at reality. I wish more of you would objectively follow news and realize that what happened with with Hunter was just a regular plea deal. And it's a plea deal that fell through that should not have fallen through, but hey, it happens. But I'm not going to waste my time on Hunter Biden because that does nothing to help move our country forward. It doesn't. All these people do the same thing. Tom Snarnak is in the house. He says, migrants seeking asylum should be greeted with hugs. Instead, at the border, they're treated like bugs. Shoved into razor wire, denied even water. Children drowning, lambs to slaughter. Governor Abbott and his troopers are nothing but thugs. I agree, I agree, I agree. It's a shame. I saw a TikTok today as I was putting all this stuff together, and a TikTok showed Christopher Columbus in a canoe, and he's leaving his La Santa Maria, the Pinta La Nina or La Santa Maria, I don't remember which one, and he's going on to the coast. And he's met at the coast with the indigenous people, and the indigenous people said, show me your papers, as they try to come off. And he said, what are you talking about? Show me your papers, and they summarily sent him back. You know, people are constantly talking about, oh, we are teaching CRT, or no, we're teaching history, or we want to do revisionist history. No, revisionist history is what's learned in school right now. Anytime I hear Christopher Columbus, my blood boils. When my daughter was in second grade, I believe, and they were learning about Christopher Columbus, I told her to tell the teacher, whenever if she's asked, on the test, put Christopher Columbus discovered America, but let the teacher be aware that we know Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover something that's already been there. There's another TikTok that I find cute. This guy jumps into a car, and the owner of the car calls the cops because the owner of the car left to buy a burger or whatever. And when he comes, this guy's in the car, and this guy said, this is my car now. And the cops come, and the cop says, get out of this car. You didn't own it. And the guy said, I discovered the car, sir. I discovered it, so I'm going into it, and I'm busy. I got work to do. Got to go. I mean, it's stupid, right? We know that, but that it is just as silly as Christopher Columbus discovering America, right? No. And Christopher Columbus wasn't some benevolent person. He came to these lands and he slaughtered folk, and so did many others. So when we learn history the right way, we can put everything into context. Let's keep account of how many shows Egberto can dismiss and ignore the crimes of the Biden family. I'm not spending any time with the Biden created crime that you guys want to do. At the same time that you discount what others have done, I don't have time for that. Well, illegal immigrants who illegally cross a border are breaking the law, hence why they are treated like criminals. Were the people who disembarked from the Mayflower treated like criminals? Were the guys who disembarked in Jamestown treated like criminals? Did Christopher Columbus come to this new land, that a new land for him, and was he treated like a criminal, or did he maim and kill? I think when we don't learn history the right way, we have a tendency to assign violence. We have a tendency to assign all that is evil to that which isn't evil. If we honestly want to look at what evil looks like, look at the conquerors. The conquerors around the world doing things supposedly in the name of of the queen, as they pilfered through and maimed and took the riches of other folks. That is evil. That is wrong. That is what we should be looking at. But again, when you are not the one telling the history, when you are not the one telling the truth, then what happens is the lies turn into someone else's reality. Anyway, let's go ahead and listen to to the founder of Raw Story, Michael Rogers. He has quite a bit to say. Let's go there, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Michael,
how are you, man?
Rogers.
Good to see you, Egberto. What's going on?
And I met you several years ago right here at
Netroots.
The founder of Raw Story, and you bought up a whole lot of other stuff too, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of little things.
What other?
I want to give credit to my friend John. He founded it. I got there a few months later.
I thought you were from the beginning, man.
Like, the site is 20 years old. I was there for 19 years and 8 months.
Okay, founder. I'm not going to change what I said.
All good.
I think it's all good.
It's all good.
Anyway,
I just want to credit John.
Yeah,
it's good.
Because I think you picked up a couple others and consolidated it, right?
Well, we have a site called Alternate, which was founded in 1996.
I remember the founding, yes.
And it was really an early leader on the web for different than Raw. Raw is hard news. And we have some opinion, and there's more thoughtfully kind of curated opinion and issues over at Alternate. And people like that. And then another site we have is the New Civil Rights Movement.
Okay, I didn't know that you were on this new that also.
We added that to the
repertoire,
to the list, to the big repertoire,
of what you're doing. So your traffic is pretty large. And growing.
90 million hits a month or so.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I mean,
Thanks.
and how did you grow it from that little thing all the way up to where it's at right now?
So I think part of it is timing. Right. You couldn't start a Raw Story today like that.
No, you
couldn't open up a computer, create a website, and say, I want to start to bring people in.
Right.
Because you're now in a media landscape that you're fighting with 8 trillion other people.
Right.
But in the early days of Raw, John envisioned that we need a liberal alternative to the conservative media that are constantly pushing their messages. I once said, how can we influence the media?
Right.
And he says to me, it's far better to be the media than to try to influence it.
I am going to tell you a thing. With Coffee Party USA, we came up with that moniker in 2000 and when did Obama elect? 2000. We came up with that moniker in 2010 to fight what was going on with all the bad media. That you remember, all the media was leaving things like throw grandma over the ridge or death panels. So we said we were going to be the media, and for all practical purposes, we tried. I used to write several years ago for Raw Story as well. And it was always a place that folks are going to ultimately see your stuff. Because you guys know how to market that sucker, We
have a very strong...
I remember getting a tweet or something with Egberto Willis on it, and I'm like, where the hell does that come from?
Right.
Raw story. I'm like, oh, okay.
And we syndicate a lot of great stuff.
Right.
We work with providers to make sure that one of the things we do is we like to get unrepresented voices
Right.
and underrepresented stories.
Right.
There's so many important stories in the country that people are not following.
Right.
Some of my greatest pleasures when one of our reporters goes out, does a unique story, an original, exclusive, and then I turn on the cable news and they're like, so Raw Story reported today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's like going up the chain. It's having an effect.
You know, mine is on a very tiny scale, but I remember the first time I broke a story in Dallas, and it was like, wow, you get that feeling that,
Yep.
you know, it happens now. You guys break stories every damn day now, you know, so.
Yeah, we try.
You
We've
know.
just added some more. We were in a lot of investigative reporting.
Yeah.
We kind of developed more into this hard punching liberal stuff.
Right.
And now we're realizing we need to do kind of both.
Right.
That there's, going to be a great balance.
And I imagine you use your alternate platform for the more solid reporting as opposed to less opinion, or?
Well, the alternate is more of a curated site in which, like, we have agreements with
Right.
dozens of different websites to say,
Right.
can we run your material? Like
Right.
the AP, like
Right.
any other site.
Right.
What you're going to find is that thoughtful kind of reporting.
Right, right.
Not that it's not thoughtful there, but
No, it is
kind of like
less
more of
opinionated. Less opinionated, yeah.
The opinions that come from this curation
Right.
that's going on. So
Right.
it's kind of mixed in, as opposed to what there used to be a lot more like opinion sections, and
Right.
now it's more focused on the broader, I think,
Right.
is what you're talking about. And it's
And-
exciting to see everybody work together, but on different
And it's
entities.
important, right? And I think, look, the two people before, I interviewed a guy who said he's trying to unite the progressive space in such a way that we cooperate on issues. Because right now, if you notice, there are talking points that the right has, and they hammer those talking points right through the day all over. Unlike the progressive space, who go off and do each their individual thing. Nothing wrong with. I think I understand what he's saying. I think we should all go off and do our individual thing, but I think we should also have some talking points at all. Every website is unlimited in the size and the scope of the things it can carry.
Of course.
Right? So I wish I personally, I don't have the time, but if somebody were out there that says we in this space are going to have these talking points for the day, and we all have a consortium that does that, I would be for that.
We need to find a way to bridge. Like, one of the examples I use is this. The environmental movement wants to protect the environment.
Right.
They want to make sure that our land and our lakes and are free from contaminants and da-da-da-da. The labor movement that we love wants to have jobs building pipelines.
Exactly.
Right. So how can we come together with labor and educate them about, well, what does it really mean? This 8,000 jobs, once it's built, are 9 jobs of people sitting in front of a monitor.
Exactly.
So when you start to, and that's the kind of coalitions that we need to be building.
Exactly.
And I have a line. It's not my line. It may have been, you may have heard it, but it's like this. It goes like this. You take 100 conservatives and you put them in a room.
Right.
And if they disagree on 99 things and agree on one, they're walking out of that room fighting for the one issue.
Exactly.
You put 99 liberals in a room who agree on, you put 100 liberals in a room, 99 of whom agree on everything, they will walk out fighting about the one thing.
That is, but you know what? It's a
who we are.
It's a stereotype, but it's true. And we don't need to leave that stereotype. What we need to do is build on that stereotype. In other words, that is okay, but it's also okay for us to say we're going to concentrate on the, we're going to give some space to that one thing we disagree on and work on the other 99.
Right. And if you're in that little disagreement space, how do you affect the other 99? Exactly. What do we do to get, and who is the enemy here, right? That's
most importantly,
who is the enemy?
Exactly.
Exactly. So you're at this kind of inflection point where there's all these exhibitors and all these people, and I don't like you, and you do this, and you do that. But at the end, somehow it comes together. But I agree, we lack a Frank Luntz.
Yes.
Frank Luntz, who I can't stand,
right,
does an amazing job.
We were talking about him a few minutes ago.
No one's doing that on the left. Yes. No one is pulling together these focus groups. Like, pick an issue, right? Like, the right wing is going to pick an issue, and they're going to use it as a wedge and do whatever they had. The Democrats need better, like the issue of gender care, okay? this is a big controversy all over the country.
Right.
They are going to make it one of their top 4 issues in the campaign when we're talking about 9 people in the country, right? The Democratic talking point is simple. Ladies and gentlemen, all of this is not worth anything. It's all a show. It's all practice for controlling bodies. And what controlling bodies is about is abortion, abortion, abortion. And then never stop saying the word abortion.
Exactly.
But that's not us. No, no, no. We're going to use this as an opportunity to try to educate Jerry Falwell. As if we're going to get Jerry Falwell.
We will never educate the Jerry Falwells of the world.
10% and 20% of the population don't waste your time.
And you know, the reason I'm not talking any specific technical or political issue with you now is because there's a political issue we need to talk about, and then there's a transport. And I call the media the transport. And we have to perfect the transport. And that is where we're not yet, perfecting the transport. And people give you a hard time in some of the way Raw Story moves their stories, the sensationalism of the stories. And here's what I put out there. I've learned headlining from Raw Story in this manner. It doesn't matter what your headline is if somebody's not going to read your story. So you want to give a headline for people to read your story, and you're not fooling them. You're just attracting their attention to read a solid amount of information.
And I understand, listen, we live in a partisan world. We're partisan. I always say we're biased.
Exactly.
We're biased toward the truth.
Yeah.
Right? So... But I'm going to give you an example. It's irrelevant to me now. You know, we have a thriving publication. We have 30 people. But when we were young, we would go to progressive organizations. We went to the left. Can you give us some ads? Here's the traffic. We have, nah. You go to Breitbart. You want to talk about the money being pumped in? We're bigger than Breitbart on the web in terms of numbers. You want to talk about the money that the right wing shovels to their media,
and not
shovels
only that, paid. Exactly.
Now, like I said, I've had this thing, like when this old ad company messed with like 20 bloggers, right, and took away ad money. I fought the fight, but made them whole first, because that's what's happening. These big outfits are taking advantage of the little guy to depend on them. Like it's important, but I compare it to their successes. We have successes, but when I compare it to theirs, it's always about the messaging, and we do not put enough.
Well, let me just tell you, and I'll put you on the line here, or put you on the spot here. I think with your platform and your 90 million views that you have, one of the next, and you know, take it or leave it, one of the next steps is how to make that. I mean, if it's for the movement, if it's not just a commercial issue, if it's for the movement, that has to be leveraged. There are not many places like you out there. So you need to make money, in my opinion, and at the same time,
gotta pay the bills.
Pay the bills, of course. But leverage that authority, that notoriety, in order for us to grow this space. Because again, if the space is grown, well, you're the big daddy. I don't have to tell you. You're the big daddy in independence, all right?
We try.
No. I mean, let's look at the numbers. You're the big daddy in independence. So, I mean, as the big daddy in independent media and so forth, I think comes a lot of responsibility as well.
I agree. One of the things that I think is really important about that responsibility is finding those stories. Right. There was a kid who was killed. Trayon White. No one heard of him. No one knew.
Till
we'd run a story,
and it blows up.
And then that night, it's on
MSNBC and the others.
And there we are. And that to me is, you know what? We're not going to get the credit. We're not going to get some big award. Look, I've seen people get Pulitzers for exposing stuff we exposed 6 months before. So, but that's like the Oscars. That's all so internal. It's so meant. Oh, we got to pump up the traditional papers. Got to push that. You know. So, you do the work, then they take it. But, you know, in a way, if that helped to motivate the work, that's the kind of stuff that I get the most excited about.
And again, that's the difference between a paper that's, I mean, you want to make a lot of money because with money you can do things. But altruistically, it also means that you get the positive job done. Because there are too many, I mean, the other side, the idea is they're just in it for the money and they'll lie for it. We tell the truth, and at the same time we can use our notoriety to make money. And I think as long as our progressive press do that, it'd be fine. I would like us to work a lot more together. I'm talking about the totality of what we do, because I think given that more Americans agree with the values that we support, I think,
of course,
I think it is imperative that we do
That's
that.
why our campaign this time around should be
absolutely
abortion. Every other word. I mean, that's the closer. That is what the people care about.
Right.
Go look at all the surveys. I mean, it is clear as day. But we'll find a way maybe to.
Well, no, I have hope. I'm sorry, I hate the word hope. We are going to get it done. And it takes, and again, with a platform like yours with 90 million, with what we are doing here, and here, my little platform with Rick Smith, little platform, and
but you're reaching the core.
Right.
So that's how a site, like, it all builds on each other. And
absolutely.
You know, one of the things, like, we sponsor Netroots Nation.
Right.
And some of my friends will say, well, I don't think our publication would do that. We want to remain in a point, really, you don't want to give any money, is what you're saying. You know, everyone knows that Breitbart is conservative. If Breitbart sponsors a right-wing conference, it's not going to be like, clutch my pearls. How could this happen?
Right.
You know, and we need to step back. We need to step in and step forward and support the work. And it's really frustrating to me.
Well, look, you're doing a good job.
Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
And
thank you so kindly for being
here the rest of
Rogers. I'll be here for the whole conference. I'm going to do at least 30, 40, 50 interviews.
Wow.
You know, but I'm speaking to people that are making a difference. And brother, you're not just making a difference, you are tearing it apart.
I hope.
And,
we're trying.
You keep doing what you do. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. All right, folks, that is gonna pretty much do it for the day. I've been watching your comments and watching the discussion of a few folks hyperventilating about Hunter Biden. I am not touching it. I'm not talking Hunter at all. So anyhow, let's see what else we have here. Folks, please remember this is a show that needs your support. Please go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support and support the program however you can. I promise you that we are diligent with your contributions in all that we do. Let me just go ahead and put that link out there now. politicsdoneright.com/support. We cannot do this without you. If it weren't for you, there wouldn't be a Politics Done Right at all. So please continue to support. Please support us. Please tell others to support us, because right now we can only make the change if that change starts with what you do. I want to thank everybody that was here. Hey, Bridge MCP, muchas gracias. Glad you ignored Hunter. Thanks for interviews. We have so many more interviews to push out. What I'm trying to do is make them thematic. If you notice, today was our great progressive publishers, and the two biggest in our land right now is Raw Story and Daily Kos. Like I said, Raw Story gets over 91 million views every month, and of course you have Daily Kos is in the millions. I don't remember how many millions they get a month as well. So what I did is I'm trying to create them in sort of a thematic form. Tomorrow I think I'm going to have, I'm not sure yet, I think I'm going to have Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, and I may tie him in with the Secretary of State of Connecticut. So we'll see how we tie these together. But anyhow, folks, we're at the end of the program. Please support us best you can. politicsdoneright.com/support. Thank you very much, Bridge MCP, for your kind contribution. We can always count on you. For those of you who have supported the trip to Chicago, I will be ordering some T-shirts when I get the final tally as far as everybody that helped us out. The thing is down. The fundraiser is down. It doesn't work anymore because again, it's over 30 days. But you can still support Chicago by just going to our PayPal address inside of the support link, and just when you donate with the PayPal, just put this is for the Chicago trip. So if you donate by PayPal now and just say this is for the Chicago trip, you'll qualify just like anybody else, depending on your the level, whether you get the T-shirt, the book, etc., etc., etc. We still have quite a bit more to pay off on that on the credit card for the trip to Chicago, and I hope you can so kindly help us do that, because the Fed rates went up by another 0.25% today, which means there are a couple of loans that I had to take out for this project that just zoomed up on me. Anyhow, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. How do I end this baby again? You know how I end this baby. I am what?
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take mystery out politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBRTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.